We have made it to March. March, when the days grow longer and the sunshine is warmer, when the snow melts and the snowdrops and crocus and narcissus start pushing through the damp soil. We begin sowing seeds and watching the buds unfurl, and winter finally gives way to spring, in like a lion and out like a lamb if we have our way. With the start of each new season, I love to pull out my back issues and torn images that I've collected over the years. There's something I find so soothing about laying everything out in front of me and seeing what I'm drawn to, what I'm drawing inspiration from. It takes a little time, so I make myself a pot of tea, light a candle, and just enjoy the process. I have thrifted a rather large collection of old Martha Stewart Living magazines, the early 2000s being some of my most favorite issues. There's a lot of timeless inspiration, alongside many good things, both making them a pleasure to still flip through, even decades later. I also have a number of years of British country living and English home, two other favorites of mine. With the arrival of a new season, I like to give our front entrance a bit of a zhuzh. Arranging our entrance for me is a bit like styling a shop window display. I like it to be something that makes a bit of a statement when you enter our home. Nothing over the top, just a nod to the season. I kept things light and airy, and forged some of our crabapple blossoms to force. They'll eventually make quite a statement, but I don't mind them bare. I just had to arrange them in such a way that they weren't hindering the door to our powder room. I kept my little rabbit candy dish, as it was meant for the spring anyway. I filled it with some Jordan almonds. Eventually, as we get closer to Easter, I'll put out some mini eggs. But if I put them out this early, they'll be gone in no time. Then I changed out my heavier spiced candle for something more spring-like. Usually, I would get a new candle, but in an effort to spend as little as possible this year, I just used the remaining half of one I already had. Eventually, I will add a small pot of spring bulbs to this table, maybe some potted snowdrops or muscari, but for now this will do. The last thing I wanted to freshen up was the ribbon on the wreath I had made. I removed the golden velvet ribbon and replaced it with a wide, mossy green gross grain that feels much more spring-like. Our growing season won't begin for another couple months. It's much too cold still. However, I do like to start some things soon, like my sweet peas. I can start some things early inside, letting them germinate by the warmth of the wood stove. And then once they're ready, I can harden them off in my cold frame outside. I've spent some time taking inventory of what I have on hand, and will make a sowing schedule for the coming weeks. Though Easter falls in April, I will be hosting on the 3rd, which means I will spend some time this month planning everything out. I like to take my time and enjoy the preparations. I also like to have things tucked away early, so I'm not anxiously trying to find anything last minute. Before we know it, as soon as the weather turns warm, yard sales and estate sales will start popping up. The spring is always a great time for thrifting or finding things secondhand. I look forward to sharing a bit this month on how I incorporate thrifted finds into my decor, and what I always look for when I'm out. Finally, the arrival of spring means an airing out of the house, blowing away the cobwebs, refreshing the rooms, giving everything an old-fashioned spring clean, sorting and organizing and purging, wardrobe included. I always look forward to pulling out my favorite warm weather things that have been tucked away for months that I always enjoy taking out. It's really, for me, what feels like the proper beginning of the year, when everything comes back to life and everything starts fresh. Psalm 65, verse 9a and 10 to 13 says, "Thou visitest the earth and watereth it. Thou waterest the ridges thereof abundantly. Thou settlest the furrows thereof. Thou makest it soft with showers. Thou blessest the springing thereof. Thou crownest the year with thy goodness, and thy paths drop fatness. They drop upon the pastures of the wilderness, and the little hills rejoice on every side. The pastures are clothed with flocks. The valleys also are covered over with corn. They shout for joy, and they also sing."